We've got an entirely new look to the mid lane top 3 for this patch, as the AP item changes from 25.10 have shaken up the meta. Lucian drops out of the top 3 for ADC due to his nerfs, and much more, as we bring you guys 3 of the best champions for every single role in patch 25.11. And it's no secret that League's ranking system is designed to trap you. It pulls you in with those games where everything clicks and you carry hard, only to balance it with frustrating matches that feel unwinnable from the start. This cycle keeps you grinding, hoping for change, but never quite breaking through. What most players don't realize is that escaping this cycle requires specific skills and strategies tailored to your exact rank. That's where SkillCapped comes in. We're the only service in this industry that has invested millions of dollars into identifying what actually works at every tier. Our challenger coaches have mapped out the best and most useful strategies that turn hard-stuck players into consistent climbers, and you can access all this expertise for less than $9 a month with our annual plan. We're so confident in our method that our business model depends on your success. Climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, or claim a full refund. No questions asked. Stop wasting time on the ranked treadmill. Start climbing today with proven strategies designed specifically to break through your current rank. Check us out by clicking the link in the top right corner or in the description below. And with that being said, let's get into it. So after dropping out of the top 3 for a couple of patches, back in for 25.11 is going to be Kayle. Kayle was a big winner from the 25.10 item changes because she's able to benefit from 3 of them. Nashor's, Rabadon's, and Lichbane were all buffed, and that's currently the core build leading to the most success on Kayle. Now, the order in which you purchase the items has actually shifted though, with Lichbane now slotting in as a better second pickup instead of Rabadon's. Lichbane saw its cost reduced by 300 gold, so by grabbing it second, you're able to spike a bit earlier on with Kayle, which feels really nice. You still build Rabadon's, but you'll just be delaying it until third. In terms of a hard scaling top laner, there's really nobody that competes with Kayle right now. Kayle's early laning can be a bit more difficult to navigate depending on the matchup, so you should prioritize your ban on a strong laning top lane champ like Irelia. Early on with Kayle, it's all about giving up as least as possible without dying, so don't be afraid to use your teleport to heal up if you get chunked out, as not handing over the enemy any early kills should be your main goal. If you can do that and reach the mid to late game, then it's smooth sailing. For Kayle's rune page, look to take Press the Attack with Absorb Life, Alacrity, and Last Stand, followed by Celerity and Gathering Storm for secondaries. When it comes down to the most simple yet powerful top lane champion in meta right now, Malphite is the king. Malphite saw a nice indirect boost in power in 25.9 due to the feats of strength changes, as earlier access to additional armor is incredible for him. If the enemy team locks a majority physical damage comp, then Malphite is the no-brainer lock-in for 25.11. Malphite can still be effective into AP comps, as his teamfight presence will always be of great impact, but it's not as ideal due to the fact that Malphite has armor scaling on his abilities, and he won't be able to stack any armor against AP comps. One champ you will want to avoid at all costs when picking Malphite is Sylas. Sylas stealing Malphite's R is a recipe for disaster in the mid game, as it just gives Sylas such easy access onto your high priority targets, so always look to ban him out if you intend on playing Malphite. The core build you will want to run for most games on Mal consists of a Sunfire Aegis Rush into Thornmail second and Frozen Heart or Canik Rookern third. It's going to be Comet for the Keystone Rune with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Second Wind and Overgrowth for secondaries. One of the best pure solo carries that you can pick up in the top lane for 25.11 is going to be Set. Set is a phenomenal top lane champ to play right now, as he was recently indirectly buffed due to the Overlord's Bloodmail changes and has been in a great spot ever since. There's even a new 3-item core that has been popping up on Set recently, and it's leading to incredible results. Instead of going for Hullbreaker as a core item, what's been working best lately is grabbing Warmogs as a third pickup. So the 3-item core has you rushing Stridebreaker into Overlord's Bloodmail second and then Warmogs third. It makes a lot of sense as to why this build would perform so well on Set, because the passive on Overlords converts your bonus health into AD. To be exact, 2.5% of your bonus health is converted into AD, so with Warmogs offering up 1000 bonus health, it's basically like you're getting 25 AD from buying Warmogs. In total, with the health from Stridebreaker, Overlords, and Warmogs, you have 2000 bonus health, which means the Overlord's passive is giving you 50 AD on your 3-item core. So not only are you extremely tanky by building Warmogs, but you have incredible damage output and the ability to heal up without having to reset, which is really nice for the mid to late game when fighting around objectives. Matchup wise for Set right now, just looking at the analytics, there's nobody in meta that's giving him a difficult time. Set's worst matchup analytically is Malphite, but it's honestly not even a matchup that's difficult to play into. It's mainly the fact that Mal is just really good right now, which is leading to the lower win rate for Set in the matchup. For this reason, unless there's a specific top laner you personally hate playing into, using your ban on a meta peel support like Braum or Lulu is good value, as they can make Set's life a lot more difficult come those later game fights. As for Set's rune page, you want to grab Conqueror for the Keystone Rune, and then make sure you're running Overgrowth if you are building Overlord's Blood Mail, as the bonus health that Overgrowth provides has great synergy. Less than 20% of set players are actually running Overgrowth, however, it has a 3% better win rate than Unflinching, which is the more popular option. For jungle in 25.11, back in the top 3 is going to be Jarvan. Jarvan is one of the best blind pick junglers that you can play right now. With Liandry's nerf last patch, it's given even more relative power to Jarvan, as we've seen the likes of Nunu, Amumu, Udyr, and Lilia drop in power. Jarvan's early game gank power and long range engage threat are the tools you want to have in a good solo carry jungler. With Jarvan, if you get an early lead, he's one of the best at actually extending that lead and closing games out due to his ability to force fights when ahead. Just simply playing off numbers advantages and looking to engage when your team has the advantage is a super simple yet effective game plan when on Jarvan. For Jarvan's core build, you want to be rushing Eclipse, going Sundered Sky second, and then Frozen Heart or Spirit Visage third. Since Jarvans want to be able to freely engage on the enemy's back line, using your ban on a meta peel support like Braum or Lulu is a good idea. For Jarvan's rune page, you want to be taking Conquer with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Freeboots and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. One of the best junglers in the game right now for any rank Diamond and below is Volibear. Volley is a really nice solo queue pick right now, as his core build gives him an incredible mid-game skirmish, and he's a champ that if you get a lead with, you just stat check everyone. Volley is super simple to play in the sense that you don't need to land a single skill shot when you're ahead to win out in skirmishes. With Jarvan, if you miss your EQ combo, then things can get a little dicey, but with Volley, even if you miss your E damage, it doesn't really matter if you have a lead. With the Cosmic Drive into Flickerblade's core build on Volley, your abilities are on really short cooldowns, which makes the extended fight strength of Volibear really good. The only downside of this build is if your team comp consists of majority magic damage, and if that's the case, then going for the AD build of Black Cleaver into Iceborne Gauntlet can be the better play. What's working best for Volley's rune page is Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Haste, and Last Stand, while Freeboots and Jack of all trades are for secondaries. Similar to Jarvan, Volley doesn't love playing into champs who can prevent him from reaching his targets, so using your ban on Braum or Lulu is good value right now. And to round out the top 3 for jungle this patch is going to be Nocturne. So these AD fighter junglers are taking over the meta right now due to the indirect changes in recent patches. AP bruisers are weaker. Vi, Naafiri, and Xin Zhao were all nerfed, so it's given Noct the ability to move back up in priority, as he was always pretty good recently, but just a cut below those champs prior to their nerfs. Nocturne always tends to be one of the higher win rate champs for Plat and below, and it's for good reason. Noct's game plan is a lot more defined compared to most champs. His level 6 is his big power spike, so prior to that, you should be focused on full clearing so that you can reach your 6 as quick as possible. Mastering your jungle clear is going to be really important to get the most out of Nocturne, so our new Season 15 Jungle Clear course is a great resource to help you out. And then after you get 6, you're basically just playing off every R cooldown. If it's up, then you can look for ganks, and if it's down, more focus on clearing your jungle should be the priority. For your build on Nocturne, rush Stridebreaker, go into Hexplate second, and then Black Cleaver third. When playing these engaged junglers, there's honestly no reason not to ban Lulu or Braum with how much they're being picked in meta. For Nocturne's rune page, you'll grab Conquer with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, followed by Grizzly Mementos and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. It's a complete shakeup to the mid lane top 3 for 25.11 as we have Vlad entering the mix. Vlad is in a really great spot right now because of the AP item changes from 25.10. Majority of Vlad players continue to rush Cosmic Drive, however, that's not what's working the best after the item changes. Either Storm Surge or Rocket Belt Rush is what you should look to prioritize right now. Over in Korea, it's actually a Rocket Belt Rush into Storm Surge second that has been seeing more play and leading to better results than Cosmic Drive. Rocket Belt was given more AP and more ability haste, so one of the big selling points to Cosmic Drive in the past has been its surplus of haste, but now that Rocket Belt is only behind by 5 haste, selling point for Cosmic is not as high anymore. Rocket Belt is also 350 gold cheaper than Cosmic Drive, and Storm Surge is 300 gold cheaper than Riftmaker, so you are hitting your 2-item spike 650 gold earlier than the Cosmic into Riftmaker core. For Vlad's Keystone Rune, you have 2 main options right now, being Airy and Phase Rush. Into comps with higher mobility that are more difficult to stick onto, going for Phase Rush is good value. If you want more early laning threat or are against a less mobile enemy comp, that's where Airy comes into play. One matchup that Vlad has always had a notoriously bad win rate against is Malzahar, so he's a good ban to consider. It's not that Malz is difficult to lane into by any means, it's more so the fact that in the mid game, Malz really limits Vlad's teamfight presence and forces him into buying a QSS, which halts his power spikes. With buffs to Horizon Horizon focus coming through for 25.11, we're looking at Xerath to become a very powerful pickup. Xerath was already one of the highest win rate mages in 25.10, only trailing behind Annie. So now that Annie is nerfed for 25.11, while Xerath is indirectly buffed, if there's ever a time to pick up Xerath, it's right now. So Horizon focus is receiving 5 AP and cost is dropping by 100 gold, which isn't anything too crazy, but considering Xerath's high standing prior to the buff, it just solidifies his spot in meta. You'll want to be playing a Ludens into Horizon focus core for this patch, as the build is in total 200 gold cheaper than where it was prior to the AP item buffs. If you are someone who hates playing into Victor, then it's all the more reason to add Xerath to your champion pool, as Xerath's had over a 54% win rate in the matchup lately. Other mages who just lack the same kind of range as Xerath are who he loves playing into. He doesn't like playing into highly mobile assassins though, so using your ban on LeBlanc or Katarina is what we'd recommend, as they are the two most played assassins in meta. Rune Page winning the most on Xerath is First Strike with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Mana Flow and Scorch for secondaries. When it comes down to assassins in the mid lane right now, one of the best yet underrated that you can play is Diana. Diana is never going to be as popular as Zed, LeBlanc, or Katarina, but she's almost always going to be the more powerful solo queue assassin. What sets Diana apart from most other AP assassins is her ability to give up less during the first few levels. Katarina and Diana have similar mid-range abilities in their queue that helps them CS early on, but where Diana wins out is with her shield from W. That shield helps Diana secure some additional last hits early on in lane without getting chunked out, so that when she hits level 3, she's not that far behind in farm and can still threaten for a trade. Now, of course, that's if you're playing in a ranged matchup. If you're in a melee matchup, then you can actually beat the enemy prior to level 3 in most instances. With Bone Plating as one of your runes along with the shield from W, few melee characters can go toe-to-toe with Diana early on in lane. Something that's made Diana even better as of last patch were the buffs to Storm Surge, as she's finding really good success rushing the item and then going into Shadow Flame second for a mass amount of burst. If you're playing into a comp who has more bruisers or tanks, then a build that's more underrated right now consists of rushing Rocket Belt into Lichbane. The extra health from Rocket Belt is nice to have when playing into more durable comps, while Lichbane's Spellblade passive has great value into beefier comps, as you will need a more extended fight to take them down. The one matchup that you are going to want to avoid at all costs when picking Diana is Galio, as his point-and-click taunt makes it very difficult to be as aggressive as you'd like in team fights. For Diana's Rune Page, you should be taking Electrocute with Sudden Impact, Grizzly Mementos, and Treasure Hunter, while Shield Bash and Bone Plating are for secondaries. A new addition to the solo carry top 3 for ADC in 25.11 is going to be Sivir. Sivir is directly buffed for 25.11, while Lucian is getting nerfed, so Sivir is going to be taking Lucian's spot. It's Sivir's AD ratio on W that is being increased for this patch, so going for Infinity Edge as your second purchase will rise up in value. Flicker Blades has been the more popular second item on Sivir for a while, but what we discovered when making our ADC itemization course is that Infinity Edge is literally better in all instances, i.e. wins out whether you're hitting a squishy target or a tank. So especially with Sivir W buff for 25.11, you want to be going for Infinity Edge second. You still want to build Flicker Blades on Sivir, but just delay it until third instead of second. In regards to your rush item on Sivir, Essence Reaver and Yuntal are both viable. ER will be a bit stronger on one item for bursting out targets, while Yuntal is going to outscale when you reach 2 or more items. But if you're even or behind, then going for Yuntal is optimal. A good ban right now when picking Sivir is Braum, as his shield from E can negate a lot of your damage output in skirmishes. The best keystone rune for Sivir is Lethal Tempo, with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cutdown, while Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm are for secondaries. So now that Lucian is nerfed for this patch, if you want to play an ADC who can make aggressive plays on their own, Trist is the best in class. There's just not a whole lot of downside to picking Trist right now, as she has the ability to win lane due to her incredible all-in burst threat, but still scales better than most ADCs because of her range amplifier from passive. Trist is also not reliant on being paired with a certain class of supports, as she can perform well with enchanters or melees. You'd think that Trist would like playing with melee engage supports a bit more due to her ability to dive in and follow up on engages, but she actually has higher win rates when paired up with picks like Lulu, Yuumi, and Nami. With Trist already having the safety net from her W and R, if you give her additional protection from a Lulu or Yuumi, then it's almost impossible for you to die in fights. The meta build for Tristana has you rushing either Yuntal or the Collector, going Infinity Edge second and Flicker Blades third. The Collector will give you a stronger one-item spike, but Yuntal outscales on 2 items, so it's when you're ahead in lane and want to push an advantage to where the Collector is the most valuable. To be even more specific, it's often just going to come down to how much gold you have on your first base. If you have more than 1300 gold and can buy a BF sword, always go towards Yuntal. If you have less than 1300 gold and just picked up a kill in lane, go for the Collector. When lane is even though, or if you're behind, if you base with less than 1300 gold, just going for Yuntal anyway ways to secure better scaling is the play. Good bans when picking Trist are against champs who can nullify your early game all-in threat, so Karma is one of the better options. For your rune page with Tristana, Press the Attack and Lethal Tempo are both viable. Lethal is the most optimal when with an enchanter support, while Press the Attack is best when with melee engage support. And for our third solo carry ADC of the patch, who's been arguably the most consistently powerful ADC all season long, is Jinx. Jinx and Trist are definitely two of the most versatile ADCs in meta right now, as you can blind pick them pretty confidently without having to worry about too much. With how powerful Jinx's teamfight impact can be, she's an ADC that you always feel like you can influence games on. All it takes is for that one passive proc to go off in a fight, and all of a sudden, you've cleaned up the whole fight and grabbed yourself a massive stack of cash. With how insane Jinx feels on her 2-item spike, you really want to put an emphasis on farming efficiently with the champ. Reaching Yuntal with Infinity Edge completely unlocks Jinx, so if you can get your CS scores up and are playing Jinx right now, she's your ticket out of low elo. In our Bronze to Diamond series that we've had going on our website for the past while now, Zot, who's the player we've been taking from Bronze to Diamond, has been spamming lots of Jinx and finding incredible results just by out-farming his counterparts. Since Jinx's main weakness is the fact that she lacks a gap closer, using your ban on a meta dive champ like Zed or Jarvan is a good idea. For the rune page on Jinx, you should be taking Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cut Down, followed by free boots and biscuits for secondaries. We're really surprised that Braum avoids nerfs for 25.11, and in fact, there's not a single support champ getting changed for this patch, so the meta will be looking exactly the same as in 25.10. Braum just feels amazing for solo queue right now because his skirmish is unmatched, which makes his ability to fight around objectives insanely good. For example, if your team picks something like Ezreal with Bard, but the enemy team locks in Ashe with Braum, in a straight up fight, Ashe Braum is going to win 90% of the time. The only way you really beat Braum in those skirmishes is if you can poke him out prior to the fight starting so that your team has the health advantage. For this reason, Braum is going to struggle a bit more against pokey range support, so using your ban on Karma is a good idea. If you're playing into melee champs like Naut, Leona, or Blitz, Braum is just a complete cheat code right now, as those champs don't stand a chance against him in skirmishes. Build for Braum is very straightforward, with a Locket Rush into Knight's Vow 2nd being optimal for the majority of games, while Solstice Slay is the item upgrade. For Braum's Keystone Rune, you should be taking Guardian, followed by Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching, while Biscuits and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. The most played support right now, and the best enchanter for 25.11, is Nami. Nami continues to rise in priority because a lot of the top tier enchanters from previous patches have been nerfed. We've seen Karma, Lulu, and Yuumi nerfed lately, while Nami has been left untouched, so she's moved past all three of them in relative power. What's really nice about Nami is that she has much better lane presence than most other enchanters. The heals from W allow for you to take even trades with your opponents that actually turn into winning trades due to the fact that you'll just out-sustain the enemy if they don't have any heals themselves. So your goal with Nami early on in lane should be to chip away slowly at the enemy's health bar with short trades, work up a health advantage, and then you can threaten for an all-in once you've built up a nice difference in health. The best rush item for Nami is Imperial Mandate, and she's one of the few supports that actually likes the item as a core pickup. It's just really good for Nami because her E procs the passive from Mandate, which gives the Mandate passive a lot of value for Nami. Nami doesn't like playing into supports with strong catch power, so using your ban on Thresh or Nautilus is a good idea. The rune page for Nami consists of Aerie with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while Bone Plating and Revitalize are for secondaries. Back in a great spot for solo queue due to her 25.9 buffs and rounding out the top 3 for support is Leona. When it comes down to a hard engaged melee support, there's nobody as good as Leona right now. Unless you count Braum as a hard engaged support, but Braum doesn't have the same kind of instant long range catch that Leona has. It's crazy because Leona would be performing even better right now if players would run the correct build. Bloodsong is heavily outperforming Celestial Opposition on Leona, but only 25% of Leona players are taking it. It's only when you get to Challenger Elo where the majority of Leona players are taking Bloodsong, so if you have not been running the upgrade on the champ, definitely look to do so. Leona's whole identity as a champion is to find a target caught out of position, engage on them, and burst them out as quick as possible. So Bloodsong synergizes very well with Leona because it adds damage to her catch and burst strength. Champions who can counter Leona's catch power are who you'll want to avoid playing into, so banning out Braum is a good idea. For the core build on Leona, it's going to be Locket with Knight's Vow for the majority of games. You should take Aftershock for the Keystone Rune with Font of Life, Second Wind, and Overgrowth, while Triumph and Haste are for secondaries. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So that's going to be all for the 25.11 update on the best solo carries for every single role. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.